But I don't know if people think when they're talking about dreams, I don't know that they're thinking about demons, and vice versa.
Well, and even if you want to, I think we get to a point where we want to acknowledge dreams. Dreams are good. We like dreaming about life, about the possibilities of the future, but a lot of times we don't want to talk about the demons, and that could be fake.
That's a taste of dreams and demons. This week's episode of The Wise Guys, a podcast that unleashes the unthinkable in culture, religion, business, and everyday life. This week, the guys pulled an episode out of the Wise Guys Dual Vault and talked about how exotic we all are as we blend both the light and the dark sides of life. So it's time to step over the line, strap in, and see if you are willing to let Mac and Coach Stu take you to a place of thinking differently.
Mac and Stu here, and you're listening to the Wise Guys podcast, where we go rogue as we apply wisdom to the everyday to help us do it just a little bit better. In this episode, we're going to elaborate on just how exotic a cocktail we are. And what we mean by that is the light and the dark. It's our nature to have this sort of dualistic blend within us and who we are. We can't help it. But the question is, how do we treat the dark? It's not typically how do we treat the light. It's how do we treat the dark? So let's go into the gray as we kind of meld those two things together. And let's just see what happens, man. It's going to be great. But as always, our conversation is going to be roguish as we weave in our core values. And we'll share this week, one more time, a Mystic McNugget. So off we go into the Shadowlands. What do you think about that, Stu, man? Huh?
Hey, Mac, you said two of my favorite words that go together, exotic cocktail.
Yep.
I love it. Yes. I love it. So let me just start out using those words. Namaste to all of you beautiful exotic cocktails out there.
Yep.
We love you. We love hearing from you. And Mac, we have some new listeners in a new location in the world, a new country. So now we have some people listening in Turkey.
Oh, wow. I just always get so jazzed when these kinds of things happen. I
love it.
It's beyond us, without a doubt.
It's so interesting because our roguers don't know this, but we don't do a whole lot of promotion. And so how people find us is just a mystery to us. We love it. And we love that you're finding us. And we're so grateful for that. And glad that you're in this conversation with us because that's how we see it. But wow, how, one of life's mysteries.
Right? And here's the other thing that this says to me is it says this: I don't care whether you live, as you're listening right now to us, whether you live across the pond from us or in a different hemisphere from us, we are just so much more alike than we are different. And regardless of what your culture is or, your life circumstance and your environment, certainly those things are different. But at the same time, our hearts beat deeply in the same ways. And that's an encouragement to me when I see that expansion. I think it's just so cool. So,
very well said.
Yeah,
very
welcome,
well said.
man.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So it's all good. Yep. So here we are. Yeah. Dreams and demons, man. Dreams and demons.
I wonder if people have ever put those two words in the same sentence. We do, because this is what we do. This is how we think. But I don't know if people think when they're talking about dreams, I don't know that they're thinking about demons and vice versa.
Well, and even if you want to, I think we get to a point where we want to acknowledge dreams. Dreams are good. We like dreaming about life, about, the possibilities of the future. But a lot of times we don't want to talk about the demons. And that could be faith-based. That could be, again, religious-based. That could just be how you look at what you might call a demon. And our thoughts this episode center around this just little meme that we did. But let's learn to love our dreams more than our demons. Now, here's the nuance there, though. It doesn't say love dreams, hate demons. That's not what we're saying.
Right.
That's really kind of counter to what we're trying to say, because we learned that. I think that's what we learn to do. And I think sometimes that's not unhealthy. We're going to try to talk about it from a different perspective. Learn to love your demons more, love your dreams more than your demons. But here's what the connotation is again. We're going to love the demon to a certain extent. And that may be a little different concept. There's a little roguish concept for you, gang. Because we think a lot of times when we talk about angels and, angels and devils, demons and dreams, kind of the good and the bad, the light and the dark. So we have the devil sitting on the one shoulder and we have the angel sitting on the other shoulder yakking at us. Which one wins out? If you're an LOTR fan, like I am, okay, we got Gollum and Smeagol. And the conversations, right?
Those are my favorite. I love those.
Yeah, the conversations that creature would have with itself. And then another kind of common symbol or thinking that you might, when it comes to light and dark, you might think of a yin-yang symbol. Again, you don't have to be, in that realm, but we see it in martial arts. We see it all over the place. And to some extent, I don't want to get into a big discussion about yin-yang symbol, but the connotation there can be this balance between the light and the dark. So we have these ideas of when we mention, dreams and demons, good and bad, light and dark, what might be going through your brain right now. We get
right.
It. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you mentioned this a moment ago, Mac. It's important that you love both of these. Love your dreams more than your demons, of course. But as you said, it's not about hating your demons. It's a different kind of love. I mean, it's like not to the same degree,
right?
So of course we want more dreams in our lives than we do demons. But demons are part of who we are, and it's part of our life experience. And we're going to get into that. We're going to get into what these are, what the dreams are,
sure.
What the demons are, so we have some perspective on it. But love both. Love both of them.
Yeah, and one of the things that really helped me in this concept and this idea, this way of thinking, is my cousin had introduced this little documentary called "Finding Joe." I think it's out. I think I finally found it on YouTube. We'll put a link to it in the notes. But it was this whole Joseph Campbell. That's the Joe. It was this whole idea about loving the dragon, and because the dragon is you, the dragon is me. We are it. And so the minute we hate it, we're almost hating ourselves, so that's a whole nother, I'm not going to run that rabbit trail, but I will throw that out there. And if you want to look into that, it really helped me. But sometimes it's hard to identify depending upon our personality and our bents and how we just learn and live life and what we've been taught and who, to whether or not we can identify both of those things in our life, and I think it's important. What are your dreams and what are your demons? And the statement we're making in this episode is the caution that hopefully in your life, neither one of them is, quote, zero. Now, we all understand that there's no way in the world the demon part of us can literally be zero. It's going to be more than zero, regardless of your life and who you are. But how much do you acknowledge that? And then how much do you allow yourself to dream? What are those? Can you articulate them? If you sat down in a conversation with somebody after we were done, or after you got done listening to this podcast, could you articulate what they were and what they are? Both sides?
Mac, those are great conversations to have around a roaring bonfire.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? I love that.
Maybe a little libation too. That's okay. Loosen the tongue a little.
It's so fun.
Probably good.
I mean, you can get into both of them, but talking about your dreams is a lot of fun around a fire.
Love it.
Something just comes out.
Just pick it and just cultivate that environment. Go for it. Love it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So something that a lot of us do is focus your energy on the demons, right? So, and typically I've seen that when I'm fighting them, right? So it's kind of like I'm giving it all this attention because I'm fighting it. I don't want this, I'm fighting it. So an elevated perspective maybe on thinking about this is to stop doing that. Stop fighting the demon,
Right.
because you're just giving it
Yeah.
that energy, that focus. And I heard this many years ago, one of my personal growth seminars. I heard this saying, whatever, and I'm sure this is in a book somewhere. I'm
Yeah.
sure a Roger is gonna know where this came from. But whatever you resist, persist.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yes, I love it.
it's really, the way I see this is like, look it in the eye. There's your demon. Look it in the eye.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Right?
Just call it what it is. Yes. I mean, listen, guys, listen to what Stu's saying, gang. Again, the more traction you give, whatever, good and bad, the more it manifests. It's just so true. That's a truism, man. You're right on the button there. But how about this is tough sometimes. This is tough, and we don't want to paint this into a rainbow and unicorn kind of perspective, but I really think we need to consider that we need our demons in order to appreciate the dreams. I mean, you don't have to compare to what? If you don't have the struggle, if you don't have the overcoming that's part of your life, in some regards, the victory isn't as sweet. It's really almost not a victory, because it's like victory over what? There isn't a victory. There's just a being, and there's beauty. I think that's the way the universe is designed, that we can appreciate those dreams. We can achieve those dreams. We can celebrate those dreams. I think better when we know we had some demonish-isk kind of stuff that we had to overcome, that we had to press on through, whether it's individually or collectively. Because it's a group effort as much as it is an individual effort. Whether you're helping those around you, those in your closer knit circle, to deal with their demons, to be honest about it, to be safe space where they can articulate the downside, as well as you being able to articulate your downside, and just find a safe space as people love on you. But also, how do you cultivate each other's dreams? John, at the bonfire, let's go sit around the bonfire. I mean, it's that pursuit. Tell me, let me help you if you're having a struggle with it. And certainly if you do this with a mate, but even in the closer, your kids, maybe if you have children or your friends, let's dream together. Let's just cast it out there. Let's make it happen.
Well, you've mentioned this earlier about the light and the dark, and it's, can you have the light if there is no dark, right? Like without dark, there is no light. I mean, they coexist, right? And some of this may seem unfortunate, but we don't see it that way. Like, check this one out, Mac. Can you have happiness without sadness? How would you know the difference if sadness didn't exist?
Right. Yeah.
You would completely miss out. There might be happiness, but maybe it wouldn't sparkle like a rainbow after a huge storm, right? Because we've seen rainbows just without a storm. Maybe there's some showers and there's a rainbow, but how much brighter and spectacular is that rainbow after a huge thunderstorm, right?
Yes. It just gives you a perspective. Now, here I can hear what's going on in some of your brains out there. I can hear it right now. Well, wait a minute here. I don't think I want to have to experience all that crapola that I have experienced in my life in order to be able to appreciate what's good. I would just as soon never have had to gone through that.
Hey, Mac, I'm with them.
Exactly.
I don't want to either.
No, so we're not trying to say, okay, let's just bring on the adversity, man. Come on.
Right.
It's all good because I want to.
Definitely don't say that, right?
No,
it's just that I think what you're saying is it's going to be there. This is life, right? This is life. So how are we gonna do it a little bit better, right? How are we gonna make it better for ourselves, knowing that it's all there?
There
right?
It is. That perspective, gang. Let's just make sure we have the right perspective on all of this as we move into this deal.
You know it. So hey, Mac, let's get into talking about dreams and demons. Let's talk about dreams first.
Yeah.
that may end up being more fun. I don't know. Talking about demons might be fun too, but let's talk about some dreams. So, I have some questions like for you, Mac, for our roguers out there. Is it easy to articulate your dreams? Like, is that easier than articulating what your demons are? For some people, it may be, right? Or is it hard? Maybe it's harder. Maybe this isn't something that people are thinking about out there. Like here's a question. What are your dreams? Have you ever asked yourself that? All of you that are listening out there, have you asked yourself, what are my dreams? Do you think about it?
Well, yeah, and here's some of the reason why. If you're saying, no, I really don't go there, and I can just say this from my own life, in my own life experience. In my life, there certainly was a phase of my life, and it lasted way longer than I'd like to admit, where I wasn't even willing to contemplate dreams. And you know why? Because I didn't want to be disappointed.
Yes, I've heard this. I've heard this before.
I wasn't willing to cast that out there as a possibility in my life because I didn't want to face the downside that I thought at that time in my life was just going to be inevitable. I can dream about that all I want, but you know what? It ain't going to happen. And then I'm just going to set my intention and I'm going to get my hopes up and beep, beep, beep. And I'm just going to get dashed against the rocks again, and I don't want to go there.
So there may be some demons in what you're talking about, and we are going to get to that, Mac. But first, let's get to the dreams.
Sure.
Mac, don't squash my dreams, man. I want to talk about dreams right now.
Let's do it.
So let's start with the dream of, and this to me isn't even a dream. I know some people are going to see it this way, but it's just really love, right? Being in loving relationships, being in love, the concept of love. Thinking about when you're young, right? If I could talk to all of our young roguers that may not have had as many experiences as some of our more experienced roguers that are out there, right? And that first time that you feel, I am falling in love, right? And then you have that feeling, and then maybe later on you have dreams of, I want that again. When I find my person, my soulmate, when I find them, I want to have that feeling of love. That's a dream I have, to live that every single day.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it's love others. I dream about being able to love others as well as being loved by others, being loved by God, just being able to receive that. I would love that in my life, or I want to cultivate more of it.
So important. Yeah. And you're right. And I don't want to gloss over that, but us feeling loved is maybe even a bigger dream for people to feel that, because they can give it. They know how to give it out, and they know how to be a loving person, but receiving that back, getting that back, that may be in the dreamscape world for many people.
Well, yeah, and it's pleasurable. There's nothing wrong with pleasure. Those are good feelings. Those are, we'd love to experience the pleasures of life. That's part of what it's all about, man. I mean, again, those are dreams of that kind of life, of that, whether it's in a sunset, it's in listening to a great concert, it's being around friends around the bonfire. I mean, fill in the blank however you want to do it, man. Looking into your lover's eyes. I mean, it's all good, No doubt.
What are the things that you enjoy is what you're talking about, your passions, right? When somebody's got a passion and you get them talking about it, this is one of their dreams, one of their passions. This gives them great pleasure, great joy,
Yeah, and I think we're gonna talk a little bit about that at the end, as we kind of just maybe talk about a little bit ways to put some traction on some of this, if we can. So, it just the ideas of hope. There were many years again that I could never use that word. I didn't have hope about the future, but that's a great dream to have, that you press into to what you would look forward to in the future. What are you hopeful over? What does that mean? And what's your countenance? How does your countenance change? winsome are you? Then how do people catch on all of this? Because, the other component to all of this, if you're a dreamer, and Stu,
Yeah.
you are, you are, there's no doubt about that. If you're a dreamer, it's contagious.
Yes,
it
I
just
agree.
is in life. And so not only are you doing it better, not only are you getting sucking the marrow out of life, right? But guess what you're helping others to do as well? You're casting that vision out there to them that says, and you can too. Want to talk about it? You like, how does that feel? Let's do it. It's so cool how that's designed. I love it. I just love it. So that's why I love being around you, man. That's all. No doubt.
I appreciate that.
No
Yeah.
doubt. Yep.
Yeah. So there's another dream that I wonder if people are even they might be thinking about this now. But it's not as touchy-feely, I don't think, as some of the other, we've talked about love and about, pleasure and joy and what do you enjoy, and hope. Hope is amazing, right? How about security? And your brain can go to a lot of places with security. So let me just ask a couple of questions. Do you feel safe? And I'm not necessarily talking about physically safe. Do you feel safe in your relationship? Do you feel safe sharing with a friend your deepest, darkest secrets? Is there security in that? And if you don't feel safe, do you want to?
Right. Would that be a dream? Yeah.
Is that a dream? Do you want to feel safe? What does that look like to have that security? Of course, when you say security, people think, no one's breaking into my house and I'm safe driving around.
Right.
Financial security. There's a lot of, but as we do, Mac, we like taking it, a step above that. And,
right.
And we all want to feel safe. I believe in relationships, any relationship we're in, whether it's a spouse or a work relationship or a friendship, we want to feel safe in that and secure.
Yeah. These are good things, and we want that more light. Those are the light parts of our life that you just get up every day and maybe just a little bit better. You just feel a little more fulfilled in life and about who you are and what you're doing, and you're on task and you're hitting on all 8 cylinders, and it's working. We want that. We like to dream about that, and maybe some of you have achieved some of that. Well, that's beautiful. I mean, I hope so. That would be awesome. We encourage that. Those are all good things.
All right. So on that good note, we're going to take a little bit of a break. We'll be right back, and Stu's got some more really great nuggets to share with us. Just hang on.
Like what you hear so far? Join us in the Rogue Nation by going to our website, www.gorogue.life, where you will find links to our social media and podcast channels, posts on the Seeing Differently blog, and a way to subscribe to all our happenings. We encourage you to become a member of our cafe, where you can interact with us and fellow Roguers and keep the conversation going. Please share us and like us. And now, let's get back to our Wise Guys.
Okay, we're back. And Stu, man, I'm gonna hand the mic back to you. Loving to hear what you have to say.
So here's one that I have realized in my life, and I'm so thankful and grateful that I have a dream of feeling fulfilled, like a dream of fulfillment. And here's I want to give some examples of what that means to me.
Sure.
Like feeling fulfilled. Coaching, of course. And I fell into coaching. It wasn't something I've always said I want to be a coach when I grow up. I just kind of fell into it. But what I realized is I've always been that person. And it wasn't until somebody said, "Hey, you should go do this." And then I started doing it and feeling the passion, and I really felt fulfilled every single practice and competition. And So helping others fits into that for me, feeling that fulfillment. But even something like, okay, in college, I helped pay my way through school playing in a rock band, right? And we were touring all around the Midwest. And just being up there, knowing that people are enjoying themselves because of me and my band, not just me,
Sure.
but
Right.
and they're getting something. They came out that evening, and and that's one way. There are so many ways
Sure.
you could
Yeah.
feel fulfilled, but there is nothing better than being up on stage and having people just dancing and singing and just enjoying life with you and being with you. It's kind of the same way I feel about the podcast, about what we're doing. When
Yeah.
I hear from the Rogers, wow, does that feel amazing? So that's kind of like fulfillment for me. Those are just a bunch of examples throughout my life.
Yes. And you guys have experienced this out there. Fill in the blank. That was Stu's story. You've got your story. And if you don't have much of a story, then what we're going to say is, okay, let's move forward and let's just try to do a little bit better. Let's just, notch it up just a little bit. No worries. It's all good. There could always be a shift. Always you can initiate a shift. And at the same time, we have to be realistic about what our demons are. We said this at the beginning of the podcast that when we even mention those two words, dreams and demons, you may be more of a dreamer, or you may be more of the demoner. It's not a word, but I'm going to say it. Okay, that you gravitate there. It's easier for you to articulate kind of those demonic things in you than what your dreams look like, and I totally understand that. And we said this earlier as well. We got to be willing to call them out there for what they are, not to give them traction. But let's not. We did a podcast just recently on deception. Let's just not deceive ourselves into thinking that we don't have the demons and that they're not there. Just ask the folks around you. I guarantee you, if you don't think you have them, those closest around you can help you articulate more than likely.
So Mac, I think what I'm hearing from you is we're done dreaming right now, and we're going to be looking over our shoulder at the demons coming our way. Is that where we're heading?
Let's see. Is this a Gollum or Smeagol? Okay, I think it's Gollum's turn. All right,
Okay, I'm with you. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
So we'll shift here a little bit and just go to that place. Go to that dark side. Go to the area that we don't typically want to venture, whether it's our personality or whether life's just good. And you don't necessarily need to dwell on that kind of stuff. But again, the minute you just don't think it's there and you don't even acknowledge it, that's when it starts to get a toehold and things can manifest in ways that you really don't want them to, because you don't really have any kind of control, if you will, or you don't have it in its proper perspective. And we all know what our demons are. We understand, it's like going to the confessional. Okay. If you've ever been a Catholic, right?
All right.
We get it. We get how our anger can be part of our demon, that it can surge up and that it can manifest itself in all kinds of crazy, wacky ways. And most of the time to the detriment of those around us, although our health can certainly suffer from that. I mean, that's, it's there. It lurks. There's no doubt.
That's a big one for people, Mac.
Yeah,
anger.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, not to be glossed over. I mean, it unfortunately, and it really. This is something that I struggled with when I was younger, and people that know me now would never guess this about me.
Yeah, me too.
But
yeah,
I am Italian and I am Sicilian, so we have that gene in us, and it took a lot to be able to manage it, I guess I'll call it. But here's what's important. I didn't ignore it and try to just get rid of it. I did my best, and I think I do now, to feel it and let it get through me as quickly as possible, so it's not sitting there too long.
Right.
And And I've done a lot of work around that. So, but that's, it's there. So even when you work on some of these, like you said earlier, they don't necessarily go away. They're there, but how are you handling it? I'm not ignoring it. We talked about that earlier, right?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. It's not the head in the sand approach. But it's not giving it more traction than it needs to have either. And there's a delicate balance there, and you just have to sort of find it. And again, the navigation of that is not always the easiest thing, because we're these exotic cocktails. We have all this stuff kind of churning around in us all the time, whether it's the anger we just talked about, whether it's obvious sorts of addictions, things that we just can't seem to get a handle on, that have a handle on us, that just control us. And again, we're not in a therapy session here. We're just giving some examples, and we're just acknowledging that they're out there. But our encouragement is we don't ignore them, just like Stu was saying. That the minute you do that and you start to try to pack them on down, that typically doesn't end well, either. And again, when it comes to addictions, there's all kinds of other ways to approach that, and programs and, things to go about with that. But we're just highlighting some of this stuff that can be churning around in our brain right now.
And Mac, let me add just a little bit to the addiction part, because it's obvious we can easily think about, drugs and alcohol and, sex or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of addictions people have that are come to our mind. Sometimes we don't think about things that might be considered positive, right? Or hobbies, or, I mean, you could certainly have an addiction for working out. And you might think, okay, well, how is that in addiction? Like what's happening? Well, it could be a compulsive, like chronic need to be there. And when you're not there, like it affects your mood. And I know some people might be thinking, yeah, that could happen for me. But where it becomes an addiction, where it's a demon, is where you're not in control of it anymore. It has control over you. Yeah,
and then, if you want to delve into this a little bit more, go listen to the episode we just did on deception. It's so easy. As what Stu's really saying here is that, we deceive ourselves into thinking this stuff is good, and on the surface it is. Like in your example, working out's good, but it just as easily can turn into something that is on the dark side. And then there's lots of, these all sort of feed each other. Things like low self-esteem. It's easy to land the plane there given our life experience, especially if we've had a lot of negative life experiences and we've been beaten down. And, again, we tend to gravitate into that place because it's our identity now. And yet, when in fact, it's really kind of our demon, and we've left the dreaming part out.
Right.
It's tragic, but that's who we are. A lot of times we go there. And a depression is one of them. And I can certainly speak to that over many years of letting that demon of depression really just climb up over the top of me and significantly affect my life. And dreaming wasn't even part of the equation at that point. I mean, I was so steeped in the whole, demon part of life. It was so difficult to break out of that. And I can appreciate where some of you might be out there as this thing sort of might have a grip on you. I get it. Totally.
You had mentioned negative life experiences. We could do a whole episode on just that.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
There's there's always the question, not always, but there's a question I've had in my life is, are you born this way, or are you the product of your environment and your life's experiences? And, I think where I end up is a little bit of both.
Sure.
And
yeah.
So
right.
Your life experiences, you'd be deceiving yourself if you said that they didn't affect who
Exactly.
you are today. And it's not even necessarily that you would want that to go away, that what we're calling demon to go away. Like for me, my when I got divorced from my first wife, that led me to a beautiful life. At the time, I didn't know it, but now, fast forward all these years later, it set me on a path to help to be who I am today and help to be around the people I'm around today.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful for that. So,
Sure.
um,
Yeah.
see what I'm doing here? We're talking about demons. I still want to go back to dreams. I'm having a hard time.
Sue's the dreamer. I said that up front. So that's beautiful. I always love it. That's it. And we tend to dwell on these things if that's our nature, and it's hard to break out. Because they all kind of pile up together. And so it's real easy to fuel the fire. Well, let's see, I'm already kind of down on myself about being angry. And yeah, I kind of got this addiction. And so therefore I'm sort of depressed, and boy, I don't feel very good about myself, and no wonder, because look what's happened to me. And I've made a ton of bad decisions in my life. And then boom, 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 boom. It just, there it is. You just swirl in that place, and it doesn't stay steady. It swirls downward without a doubt. And we don't allow ourselves to let the dreams infiltrate in to help us break out of that mode. So we're going to talk about...
That's a whole army of demons there, Mac, you just described.
Yeah. They just climb up on us if we let them. And again, we're not saying that we don't acknowledge that they exist to whatever extent in your life, but we just got to love the dreams more than we love all them. That was our point to start with.
Oh, yeah. So here's what I'm getting from this conversation with you, Mac, about dreams and demons is that in life, there's a mixture, right? It's not black and white. There's a gray, and it's constantly shifting. As the seasons of our life change. I mean, we have different, we talk about being in different seasons of life, and it may shift. You may be more of a dreamer one season and more of I'm thinking about the demons another season. That could happen. But the ultimate goal for us is to love more light into our lives that will displace more and more of the dark.
Yeah, man. Love more light into our lives, Yeah, there's how we do it a little bit better. We're not trying to eliminate the dark. We're just trying to love more light in there, so it drives the train and it becomes more of who we are. That's the mission. That's the goal. That's the encouragement. Yeah. There it is, Stu, that we have for everybody. And so how do we, how do we do that? Yeah.
How do we do this?
How does that happen? Right.
I know one way that works for me is gratitude. Just practice thankfulness. I mean, I've shared before on our podcast. When I wake up in the mornings, first thing I do before my feet hit the floor is I say thank you. And I'm grateful for my life.
And maybe that's a short list to start with. Maybe it is. Maybe there's just not much there that you can really bring in your current life situation. Find one. Just find one thing. That's all. Just focus on that and just build off of that. To just practice to be thankful and dwell. Sort of maybe just dwell on what one thing, if only one thing you can think of that's good in your life. Find some amount of goodness, or hopefully more than one, of course. We want to encourage that, but let it start somewhere where that intention starts to go to that light. It starts to love more of that light in. Dwell on those things, contemplate them, reinforce them. It's good. Yeah.
And if you set positive intentions, again, going back to my example of when I wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do? Who knows what thought's going to enter your mind when you wake up, right? It could be a positive. It could be a negative. There may be things going on in your life that immediately enter your mind. Maybe you have a big day coming up, right? So if you set positive intentions immediately, that'll help to navigate a better day for you. And you know what? I would not beat yourself up, Mac. If you woke up and you had a negative thought and like, holy cow, how am I going to get through this day? I have, and you go down the list in your head of everything that you have to do. What I try to do in those moments is just say, thank you. Appreciate you reminding me that's there. But you know what? I'm going to have a great day. I'm going to get through it.
I think what you're saying there, Stu, is just be kind to yourself. Allow yourself some bandwidth. Just be you. Learn to love the whole you. It's all you. Every bit of it is you. As we said with Joseph Campbell, learn to love the dragon because it's you. So,
Right.
There's this idea that it's not something we're trying to eradicate, quote, so just get that in their perspective. And again, it's hard sometimes to do this all by yourself. Typically, it's hard. In most cases, you need one another. Cast those visions and dreams with other folks. It's going to reinforce in them their dreams, and it's going to help them reinforce your dreams in you. The synergy there is going to be just so beautiful. Just whoever that is in your life, man, you need to grab them and you need to sit them down over a cup of coffee or a beer or whatever and just do it, man. Just do it.
Yeah, communicate in some way, either speaking out loud. There's so many ways these days: social media, texting.
Yeah, get on Zoom. Do whatever you gotta do.
What I like to say about casting your visions and dreams is to speak them into existence.
Yeah.
Right. This happens for me all the time, Mac. Right. Like, how many times have I said to you, "Oh, I got something I need to tell you," and then I say, "Oh, wait a minute. Do I want this to happen?" Because as soon as I say it out loud, I've spoken it into existence. It is going to happen, is how my life works. And I think it could work that way for a lot of people too. So think about what you say, right? You got to think about what you say. If you're speaking those demons, you'll speak those into existence. So let's speak the dreams into existence, right?
Yeah,
cast your vision and dreams, as you said.
Yes, great advice. And, these are there's so much more to this, gang. We get it. At the same time, let's start somewhere with all of this. Love the dreams more than the demons. That's our encouragement. We come back to that place again. It's just great. And I think one of the ways that we can help frame that is in my Mystic Mac Nugget this week, Stu.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear it.
This comes from the Maxter again this week, right? So here it is. Here's I think a perspective that helps in all of this, what we're just talking about. God sees you as perfect. So you know what? Go with it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just run with that. Just try that on for size for a while. Yeah. Let it
true.
Let it become, just like Stu was talking about, let it become the reality if it's the truth. God sees you as perfect. Go with it. So there it is, Stu. There it is. Go with it, man. We went with it this week.
Great way to end this conversation. I love that.
Yep.
I love that McNugget.
So that's us this week, Rogers. Again, love having you with us. It's all good. Hopefully this is some nuggets that have helped you be able to ponder how to do it just a little bit better. I've loved the conversations too. Thanks so much, man, as always. It's great.
Yeah, Mac, this has been fantastic. And to all our Rogers out there, we love you guys. Stay in touch and stay rogue, my friend.
Okay, all you Rogers. It's Mac here, and you may now unbuckle your 4-point harness. If you enjoyed this episode of The Wise Guys, we encourage you to subscribe to the podcast. Please share it with your friends and drop Stu and I a note. Subscribing is the fuel that makes it possible to deliver fresh, eclectic wisdom every week. Let us know how you are going rogue, and we'll share some of our favorite off-the-reservation stories on an upcoming episode. And don't forget, spread the wisdom by liking us on all social media platforms and keep asking the whys. We love having you part of the conversation.
Wow, you made it and can now unbuckle. Thanks for listening to Dreams and Demons, where the guys discussed learning to love both our dreams and demons. Remember to visit the website at www.gorogue.life for lots of follow-up information. See the show notes for any links to episode content and join us in the ongoing cafe conversation where we post some thought-provoking ideas and challenges for your roguish conversations. Oh, and of course, tell everyone you know about us and like, follow, and engage. Be sure to tune in next week when Mac unleashes another unthinkable conversation. That is, if you dare.